Hello, it's the Beginner Crafter. Welcome to another WIPTube video, and today I'm going to show all the projects I've been working on. So that's my cross-stitching and crocheting, and let's start with cross-stitching. First, Miranda, my main project for the year. The main focus. I mostly stitched on this page, but I also did complete a little bit of that page as well, so that I can actually call this page complete a bit more. And I put around 1,300 stitches into Miranda. I've got the sea now. Most of the sky as well. There are some empty spaces, as you can see, but mostly because these are just singular or very few stitches of a given color, so I prefer to work with a little bit more, and I'm doing square by square, grid by grid for this piece as I like to. Really nice progress. I still have over, I think, 2,000 stitches to make. Yeah, it will be closer to 3,000 to finish the page. I may leave some empty squares like in here, just because this sea has a bit more color, so there's much bigger likelihood that there will be some confetti stitches. But I think I need at least 3,000 stitches to be able to move to that page. So it will take a while still. However, next week is a long weekend, and also there will be a little bit less work for me because we have final exams, and during the first days of those final exams the rest of the students don't have lessons, so I won't have to work as much. So I hope to be able to stitch a bit more than now, and maybe get really close to finishing this page and being able to move on to that one. I'm not yet at 25% of the whole picture, so there's still a long way to go before I finish. And it kind of scares me, I mean, maybe not scares me, stresses me out a little bit, because if this is close to 25%, then it shows how much of the fabric I'm missing, and I really need to, I think, buy fabric, because I've been looking to every place I could possibly think of where I could have my canvas that I had bought, and no result. I have no ideas left on where they might be, because I had a 14 count canvas and a 16 count canvas, and really they are nowhere. So I think I have to sort of give up and buy another set. I think set, because I have to check last year's black work stitch along, if I did that on a 14 count or on a 16 count. I think it was a 14 count, and then I would prefer to continue and just do the whole series at a 14 count, although I do remember I had somewhere a panel for the 2020 stitch along, and I think I bought it in 18 count. So I have to find that too. I completely forgot about it, so I wasn't really looking for it. But it also didn't sort of jump at me. But maybe that would mean I can only buy a 16 count and just do every project on a 16 count from now on, because I really like this size. I'm not yet super convinced about 18 count. 16 is, for now, great. It's small enough to be easy to handle, to not be so stiff, to have really nice detailing without it being too pixelated, but it's big enough for me to easily see what I'm doing. 18 count, I'm getting used to it with Avarice, which I will show in a while, but yeah, for now I'm thinking of buying a 16 count, because this definitely is going to need more fabric, because I don't think 50% will fit into the fabric I cut such a long time ago and with so many mistakes. So I really need to get my head around buying this canvas, but you know, it took me I think 2 years, 3 years maybe now, of stitching this 25%, so it's not like I'm going to need the fabric next month, but this is something I need to think of for the future. And also I really start getting bored with the 3 projects I have, and I really need to look for new projects, even though I didn't really want to, but having so many weeks with just those 3 projects, it really is a little bit boring. So maybe if I start working on the black work and I have some catching up to do, maybe that will sort of stop me from being so bored with those projects. But I need to start at least one thing to just have something else to do. So yeah, that's with Miranda. Then Avarice, since I've started talking about it, and it's just a huge piece of fabric, so let's maybe cut it, maybe not cut it, but fold it a little bit. So with Avarice, I've stitched I think around 600 stitches, and I filled a little bit of the background here and a little bit of the diamond, this one and this one, and also a little bit of the page and the inside of the circle of the diamond in here. So there is some nice and noticeable progress, even though there aren't that many stitches, but I stitched in places that are quite visible. Now I think the details in the diamonds will be a bit more difficult to notice, but I still have some spaces to stitch where you can see the progress. However, I can see that soon I shall be moving to page 3, and that also means I'll have to start gridding a little bit more, just in case I'm moving downwards. In here I have some threads parked, even though I don't want to have too many threads parked in this piece. I'll want to stitch a bit more cross-country with this one than grid by grid. But in here, those stitches that I am supposed to stitch next with those threads, there are just a few of them, and then the thread goes into a place that I'm quite close to, but not close enough to be comfortable counting where I'm supposed to stitch. So I'm just going to stitch a little bit more on other places, and when I get to the area where stitching with this thread will be much more much less dangerous of a mistake, I will go back here, stitch what I need to stitch, and move to that area. This one is left just because it's so short, and I'm going to continue with the same color. So just next time I'm going to finish this thread up and continue stitching with that same color, so this one will disappear pretty quickly. So next time I actually hope to move on to that page, because mainly I have to stitch this part, because I think the page finishes around here somewhere, so this sort of corner needs to be stitched, and this should go quite fast because there are a lot of stitches of the same colors, and of course I want to put some details into the diamonds as well, but also those colors will be required in here because there will be more circles with those diamonds inside, so I'll just stitch a bit more on that page. So I hope to do some progress as well and move actually in here. Yeah, with Avarice I'm at 6.66%, so still not a lot. I am planning to start the second picture of that series when I get to 10% of Avarice, so I will have some project to stitch on, but I started Avarice in August and it's almost May now. I mean, it's April, so it's been a few months and I only got to 6%, so it will be a while before I get to 10. So it won't be as quick. And also not Avarice, the sister of Avarice, which I think will be Envy. It's also a huge piece, so it also will not be something that I will see quick progress on. And I think I also want a project that I will quite quickly see that I am making a progress. In here, I noticed the progress, but it just, you know, it's a long way to go before the end of everything. But we'll see how that works out. But yeah, it's looking better and better, and more details you can see here. Then I've got a mini Marvellous garden, and I had so much fun stitching it this time. And I actually was thinking of getting to 40% to have another, you know, nice sort of milestone, another huge number. But I actually got to 36%, so there's still quite a lot left to do that. I stitched almost 1,000 stitches in here. I still have some squares here to complete, but they will be using the colors that I have here, so I'm sort of waiting until I get there. But the corner is almost finished in here, and I'm moving down this wall side of things, and yeah, like I said, I had quite a lot of fun stitching it, so I hope, again, now I'll have a bit more fun. I mean, not more, also quite as much fun as I had, and stitch a little bit more with more time I'm going to have on my hands. I did not really complete, at least I don't think I put any stitches in the previous pages. I mostly stitched there, and it's really nice progress. There are some confetti stitches also, but they will be needing the colors somewhere else, so that's why I'm working like that. I need to start thinking about some kind of a stand to cross stitch, because I can see putting fabric into the Q-snap and out of the Q-snap to move it around. For example, when I have some stitches of a given color in here and in here and in here, it's a little bit annoying. So I hope if I had a stand that sort of goes a lot of fabric that I can have and stitch on, that it would make things easier with such confetti stitches, because then I would just thread once, put it on the stand once, and just stitch all the areas it needs. And at the moment it's like snapping, put a stitch or two, unsnap, snap into a different spot, put a stitch or two, again unsnap, move the fabric, snap again, and then stitch again. And it's sometimes it's annoying, sometimes it's not a problem at all, it's just the way it goes, but sometimes it's annoying, and maybe to avoid this annoyance I should buy myself a stand, because buying a bigger Q-snap will not solve the problem, because it's not really comfortable to hold the Q-snap if I have to stitch like on the right part of it. It's just really uncomfortable, and my left arm starts hurting a bit if I have to hold it like this for a longer while. So I think a stand, even if it's just a table stand, but with like a bigger frame that holds a larger part of a fabric, would be nicer. So I also have to think about that. If you know any good sellers on Amazon, for example, or on Etsy, please let me know, especially if they are in Europe, because then the delivery won't be as expensive as it is from the United States, where sometimes you have to pay more for delivery than you pay for the actual product that you're buying. But I think this would solve a lot of my problems and annoyances with those confetti stitches in different places. But yeah, with Mini Marvellous Garden, I've had some nice progress, and I hope to stitch on it real soon to get it going and finally get to those 40%. 40% will still not do much when it comes to what I'll be doing with the project, but when I get to 50%, although it's a bit longer down the line, I will again do some order with those parked threads and just thread them, stitch with them wherever I can, like I did with the 25% threshold, and you can still see the areas where I just threaded, stitched with the thread that I had, and how much I was able to stitch with it, not grid by grid. And it will take me a while to just get back to the square by square or grid by grid part, because I've just stitched so much with those parked threads the last time. Okay, and the last project is the crochet Amphirite rug that I'll be making, and I almost have the full repeat done. I'm at row 40, and at row 42 the whole pattern repeat ends, so I'm almost there. And I really like the effect of changing of the color much better than the last time. It goes much faster and it looks a bit more smooth than it did for some reason. I think the proportions are right, and that's what happens. That's what's happening with it. I still have quite a lot of thread from frogging, just just wrapped around the bowl, the cake. So I know that I still didn't get anywhere near to where I was last time, but it's doing its thing, and I really like the way it's looking. I do think now I have the correct width of it, so it's going maybe not as nicely as I would have liked it to, because there are not too many more pattern repeats in the row than it was last time, and I like just pausing after every repeat, so it just needs a bit more time, but I think the progress is still going really, really well. So I'm doing that with it, and just it really looks nice. So if you want the chart for it, because it's made with a chart, it's inset mosaic crochet method. The chart is free on MacMama Makes Club Facebook page. You can go there and download the pattern for free. So and you can crochet it too, and it's I think it's a really nice design, and I think this yarn works really well. I think if you had just one color thread for the sort of background, it would also look great, but I wanted to do it with changing threads on both sort of areas, the background and also the pattern color, and I also really, really like it. So that's it. And I also bought a lot of magazines. They're Polish magazines, so I guess not available for everyone, but I bought quite a lot of them because there was a lady selling older versions of those magazines, and some of them are from quite a few years ago, like this one is from 2016, for example, but they have really interesting designs, both crochet and knitting, and I wanted to buy especially for knitting because the pattern I was doing gauge swatches for in the last episodes of the WIPTube, it is too difficult for me. I really still don't have the hang of knitting, so I want to do something that is a little bit easier, and I'm just looking through those magazines and trying to see which designs I like but also seem easy enough for me to knit, and also the correct size, because I'm not this size here, so I need to find patterns that also will fit me. I definitely would not be able to resize it myself. I have no idea how it works. It might be slightly easier with crochet because I have a bit more experience with crochet, but I still wouldn't really risk it yet. I haven't done too many garments to have any idea how it works and what to do with the pattern to fit me. So for now, I'll be browsing through those magazines and choosing the pattern, and then I'll start knitting. So I think closer to the summer, you will see also some knitting projects from me, not just cross stitching and crochet as you have seen for the last few episodes. Because the gauge swatch, well, it was some knitting, but not really a project that's actually growing. If you've liked the video, please leave a thumbs up. It really is nice. Also leave a comment down below if you have something to say, for example those crochet cross-stitching stands from somewhere. Think about subscribing if you want to see the progress of all the projects that I'm making. Thank you for watching, and hopefully See you next time. Bye!